So firstly, I thank Professional Solidarity Forum for taking these initiatives and organizing these kind of programs because knowledge and experiences have to be shared. So I compliment Professional Solidarity Forum. I think a brief introduction, thank you, which you've given, was just to give better context. So, by qualification, I'm a lawyer and also a company secretary. It's been close to 2 decades of experience so far, working in various corporates, largely multinational companies, in the areas of corporate secretary, legal, ethics, compliance, and so on and so forth. And in my experience, of course, I also had quite a few lawyers and company secretaries, as well. So, while sharing that experience, I'll also share my experience as well in terms of the job search as well. Yeah, ideally, it would have been great, if we could have had a more of a live interactive session or, having more questions. But however, considering the format, what possibly we can do is that, I'll share some thoughts initially. And I think later on, maybe we can do a quick, group discussion kind of a thing so that, we can discuss some, practical issues. Okay, so the topic I think is staying positive during the job search. So, however, we will talk also a little bit broader about the approach of the job search. Okay, so the firstly, I think this particular session may go for freshers or also for the laterals. So, however, I think my most of the content I will possibly target towards an approach wherein the job search is done by the freshers. Of course, similar content would be used even by the laterals as well. Okay. Yeah. So I think, fundamentally, if you really need understand, I mean, the current COVID situation, as we all aware, has, given an additional challenge to the whole job search approach. I mean, the market, which was definitely good, is having some definitely impact. I mean, a lot of companies are revisiting their hiring strategies, revisiting their the placement approach and all of that stuff. So I mean, this brings the additional challenge for the job seekers apart from the normal challenges. Okay, and I'm sure some of the companies are going for the restructuring as well. So even laterals also may face some of those issues. So fundamentally, I think the job search as a thought process will appear very stressful and strainful for most of us. I mean, because it is not an easy process, and also as a characteristic, I would possibly say that most of us generally are very hesitant to sell ourselves. I mean, this is something what I keep telling to a lot of my students as well. I think selling ourselves is a very very important aspect, and when it comes to the job search and the related things, it becomes very difficult to sell ourselves. The most difficult thing for all of us would be to talk about ourselves and project ourselves. I mean, this is something which we need to fundamentally accept, that we really hesitate to sell ourselves. And when you talk about job search, this is an important aspect which we need to do. I mean, just like how we see on the other side as a customer, as a buyer of any products or services, what exactly we expect as a consumers. I think the same thing is expected by the companies or corporates or the market as well. So in the whole job search thing, we are actually selling our services. So the approach and the thought process and the attitude will be absolutely like similar thing. I mean, we have to sell a good services. So I mean, this is a fundamental shift which we need to really understand in terms of the overall job search. And I'll share few the buckets where we will possibly discuss. So whenever let's say a fresher, I mean, who has qualified currently and is looking for a job, I think uh, there would be definitely be a starting trouble. I mean, they will be like, okay, what exactly I need to do? I mean, there are people who possibly good campus interviews. I mean, those are lucky few guys, but there would be a lot of people who are done with their qualification and left in the open market, and they are like, okay, how do I start? I mean, that is the, fundamental thing what I keep, hearing from most of the freshers. So I think the first step, as you all, aware, is in terms of the, projecting ourselves well. I mean, I have seen a lot of CVs, from some of these candidates, and I can share with my experience that most of the times, I mean, pretty much all the CVs look alike. Okay, and I think the effort which needs to be put in the CV making generally is not seen, because it will be more like a templated approach. You simply take a standard format and you simply type it out and just accept of the change of some of the aspects. You really don't see much of it difference in the CVs. And now think from a the employer standpoint. I mean, they get like thousands of CVs like this. I mean, what is the unique differentiating factor? So I just want to spend some time in terms of making a good effort in making a good CV. So one may think that, okay, I am a fresher, what all I can write in CV. It's just very limited things which you can write. But my submission is slightly different. A CV or a resume should be a document, should be a speaking document. It should reflect about your strengths, your personality, your attitude, everything. And you can actually collect your experiences from your childhood, from school activities, some college or whatever, anything which demonstrates your personality, and it's like a speaking document. So I mean, this is something which a person has to really spend some time and prepare a nice CV, so that the other person, even if they don't meet, should feel that, okay, this candidate is a very interesting approach. It should demonstrate the personality. So that is one aspect which just wanted to share in terms of making a good CV. And of course, once that CV is made properly, of course, the LinkedIn or the social media or the job portals which you are talking about, I mean, that is one of the key sources for the employers to look in. So it should, the same content should be reflected in the LinkedIn's or any of other job portals, and using the right set of keywords is absolutely important. uh, right set of keywords are the ones which will really help the candidate to be in the first page or second page or whatever it might be. So I think that is very important in terms of the the CV preparation. And of course, I mean, we're not really talking about CV preparation, but I definitely wanted to stress a lot that we all have to look and refresh our CVs, even for the lateral hires. I mean, for the experienced folks as well. I think we have to constantly look into our CVs and mention the key achievements or the key words. I mean, again, oftentimes we don't spend so much of a time. We simply write CV like a job description document. I mean, it has to be your story. So I think it's absolutely important to spend time, revisit all our CVs, and refresh our LinkedIn profile, so that our right skill sets or right accomplishments are reflected in the document. So that is with respect to the basic preparatory thing for a job search. And secondly, I think we all know the opportunities do exist. I mean, however, we will not know what are the opportunities which are there in the market. One is an online and two is an offline. So of course, these days, before starting any job search, I mean, have a lot of online opportunities, whether it is LinkedIn or job portals, or a lot of groups are there. I mean, that is one area where you can get multiple opportunities and multiple leads. Similarly, in terms of offline, not many companies do publish these kind of openings out, but they do go to the referral programs or through known people. So that is an offline market which we have. So I think for any job seeker, knowing this opportunities, one through online and through offline, is absolutely critical. In terms of freshers or in terms of laterals also, I think there are a lot of IT consult, I would not say IT, but more of a recruiting consultants which are also there in the market. So we need to possibly try to get the database of all these recruiters as well, and target them. And of course, you also have the direct companies as well, wherein you can use their career email ID or HR email IDs and so on and so forth. and try to collect this opportunities. I just want to share an experience of mine as a job seeker, like way back 20 years back. So I was working in Hyderabad for a couple of years. Then I moved to Bangalore to search for a job actually. So when I landed in Hyderabad, so I didn't. Sorry, when I landed in Bangalore, I was my company secretary and a lawyer, but I didn't knew anyone, not a single person in Bangalore. So I will share my journey around that for almost all, I think 3 months. It took it almost all 3 months. For the 3 months, all I did, was to prepare a CV first, of course, as I said, and go and meet people, talk to them. Similarly, I used to spend time in the cyber cafe, and with there I used to get a lot of database of various consultants. So all I used to do daily was to write emails, call people, sometimes en masse emails to the consultants email IDs and to the companies and so on and so forth. And that was a kind of a starting point. And of those 100 or 150 or 200 kind of initiations, at least I used to get response from 15 people or 10 people, and that used to be some leads and some calls and interviews and so on and so forth. So ultimately, I landed up a job in a similar fashion, wherein we started off with the scratch. There was nothing, but as I continuously talk to people, continuously send emails and all, it will turn to a leads and calls and the interviews and to the job. So I'm just sharing that experience because I think we all get into that path. So that was my original journey. Of course, after that, once you reach a certain stage, I mean, headhunters and consultants, things will be automatic. So I think no one is oblivious of this challenge. So uh, it is definitely stressful, so to say. But at the same time, I think now we'll talk about some of the issues and some of the challenges which we all face during this job search. I think firstly, I think we put a lot of mental stigma to it, and we feel fully pressurized that okay, my God, I need to really find this opportunity soon. Abhi, I need to ensure that how things go on. What should I tell to my parents and all? I mean, we take a lot of pressure on our head. I think that is a significant challenge which we all face. Not that I mean we should remove that aspect. It will be there, but at the same time, I think the strategy is all about uh, not to take too much of a pressure and focus on the efforts. Because what will really happen is if you start taking pressure and stress, saying that okay, that interview is not coming and all that stuff, okay, I'm not getting the enough leads, I'm not moving to the next levels. What will happen is it will impact on the next opportunities, right? So I think the key thing is with respect to the attitude. Now I want to share some experience as a person who also had lot many candidates over a period of time. And what I generally look when I hire people is the person's attitude. I mean, of course, the skills and technical aspects can be evaluated, but fundamentally, I look for attitude of a person, the positivity what the person will, gets into that, the hunger what they get in. So some of these things are evaluated, by the employers, and I think it's absolutely important to stay supremely confident and demonstrate the right attitude to the employers. And I think hence it is absolutely important that the mental game is pretty important here. I mean, we have to be really, really strong in terms of our positive approach and how to stay confident and how to be positive. I mean, it is easier said than done. I completely understand. But at the same time, now that we understand the challenge, it is important to stay calm and continuously, search, continuously stay positive and do the best possible things in terms of the job search. I mean, it is definitely a challenging task, but at the same time, not an impossible task as well, right? So, what I would say is that we all need to understand that, okay, we have an opportunity which we want to pursue for, let's say, we should have a target 3 months, 6 months, jo bhi hai. And in that particular target, try to find out the opportunities and staying calm and approach opportunity by opportunity and try to do the best possible thing within our circle of influence, right? And I think in the process, there will be a lot of upstream, there will be downstreams, and all of those things will happen, and sometimes possibly you will have to revisit the strategy as well. For example, there have been multiple opportunities, but things are not moving. Finding out the root cause, what exactly is happening, feedback from the people who we are meeting, and then recalibrate by making suitable changes to the CVs, or finding out, okay, what exactly is going wrong in the job interview process, right? Or what exactly are the skill set requirement is there. And sometimes a lot of job seekers are single track. I mean, either they want to just stick on to one location, they're looking for only opportunities in one field, or whatever it might be. And I think as the journey moves on, possibly if there is a need to recalibrate, I think we have to see, okay, I think there are some skill set issues, I need to work on it. I mean, there could be another opportunity which I can look for. I mean, so keep those options open. And more importantly, let's say it is taking a lot of time. How do we make use of that time? I mean, sometimes job search can take 6 months or even more. The best thing is to keep on working, keep on enhancing our skills. I mean, whether it could be by voluntarily supporting some company, or doing some volunteer work, or doing some freelance projects, or whatever it might be. I think continuously ensuring that building that profile and using that skill sets is absolutely important. And some of us can also try to do some courses as well. I mean, there is online course or live courses or whatever it might be, to constantly develop those skill sets, because ultimately skill sets are the key thing. And we have to reinvent those things. I mean, I'm sure all of you, whichever field you are in, I mean, no technology or no process is constant. There's an always change. I mean, in the area which I come from, there's always a change. Law keeps on changing, right? So you have to constantly look for adding more value to the CV. So I mean, if you feel that, okay, you need to add some codes to it, add some skill to it, continuously do that, so that while you're doing the job search, you are adding some experience to it, adding some new skills to it as well. So that is one area.
One question here, Shashil.
Yeah, sure. Yeah, please.
So let's say we take these courses in Coursera or Udemy, right? Can we add those courses in our resumes?
Yeah, I think we should add those courses. In fact, I think ultimately we need to sell ourselves, right? So whether it is Coursera, we should definitely write those online certifications or offline, whatever we have been doing. I think not only in the CV, but in all profiles, we should write that. And of course, the question may come that, okay, how do you think this will be helpful? I mean, we need to talk about that, why we have done this course and how this particular course will actually add value to the, the job which you are looking for. So I strongly feel that, I mean, we should, do these courses as required, and accordingly highlight to the, the employer. Yeah. Okay. So I just want, feel free to, ask these practical issues, and also that I'll share my experience. So one of the things I think which needs improvement is the way people write the messages. I know LinkedIn is a tool, but you keep on writing to multiple people, or customized letters or cover letters. So when I get some of those letters or messages, I mean, I generally focus on the ones which is more customized, which is more personal. What lot many people do is they just prepare some standard thing, and they just copy paste it and send it. You don't see it to be personal or customized. And I think that is an area which I think we all, specifically the freshers, have to focus upon and try to project right messages, because ultimately it's a luck. I mean, you send that message to 10 people, maybe one person may respond, 2% may respond. So if it is customized well, I think that would be very, very useful. Yeah. So So these are some of the thoughts which are generally common themes with respect to the job search. I think which is applicable for even the laterals or even further freshers as well. Maybe we should talk about some of those challenges. I think then it will be more better. I mean, Shafiq or other folks, if you can just prompt some challenges, some issues what you face, then I can possibly uh, elaborate and we can discuss those things as well. You can even possibly pose questions in the chat. Shafiq, you have any thoughts or questions? Because I think I'll possibly spend some time rather than to be monotonous. We'll talk about some of the issues generally being faced. Yeah. Okay. So that's good. I mean, I can see some questions on the chat board. Feel free. So there are some fake jobs on job boards. How to identify? Yeah, that's a good question. So I think, if you see the email IDs, which is coming from, I think that is which we can identify. But having said that, there is all possibilities that, there's one kind of a racket which generally exists, is that, there are quite a few people, consultants, who will want to build a job, profile bank or, the resume bank. And from that standpoint, they will start publicizing to the groups and, try to get multiple CVs. So, I mean, that we can only know through the experience, but yes, sending CVs is fine. But however, if you feel that the person is trying to sell you some course or sell you some surveys, then you can definitely think through that, the person, may not be genuine. I mean, there are very few organizations who actually try to provide that kind of a genuine services. So that risk exists, but I think once you go through the details, then you should find out and be aware that it's not some fake job or just trying to make advantage of a situation. So the chances is always there. And I will see for some more questions, but I think I want to talk about the importance of the network, which we all should build up. I think each of us has a close network, okay, and oftentimes we hesitate also to leverage that network, okay. But I would strongly say that all of us would have some close network. I mean, there is no harm in actually talking to them and nicely tell that, okay, I just need information, I just need a reference so that you can connect to me. Here is what I generally do when any person reaches out to me. I'll say, Dekho boss, I may know some 10 companies. I may have some friends who are there in those 10 companies. Okay. So if any person reaches out to me, I would not hesitate to just connect that person to those 10 friends. That's it. Eventually, those guys will possibly, forward your CV or, give information as well. But however, the challenge is that, whenever we are reaching out to those network, I mean, we have to ensure that, we are not really putting the other person on the spot or putting him in an obligatory position. We have to say, boss, just connect us. Ultimately, it's the merit. Ultimately, it's the opportunity. If it is there, then only things will work. So when we reach to our close letter, we just need to say, boss, just ensure, just help me connect me to the right person. So that way, let's say each of us, know some 10 people and they're working in 10 different companies. We can just talk to them and ensure the CVs are placed before the right people. The key challenge in the job search, what I can say of my 2 decades of experience, is that the recruiters have a mammoth a number of CVs, and it is very difficult for them to filter. So some of this networking, how it can actually help is, of course, provided we project our profiles rightly, can actually reach the right person. So right CV, reaching a right person at a right time, I think that is where this networking can actually help. Okay, so So that is something what we should try to do that. And secondly, what can happen is that, we generally go and say, ki boss, I mean, just forward kar do. Instead, if you make a little bit of homework saying that, boss, I know these 10 companies which are actually currently looking for these opportunities, and I have gone through the job boards, and this is the particular position, then what we should do is to talk to the person and say, देखो भाई, आपके company में this opportunity is there. Here is the link, and here is why my skill set matches. If we can really, do this kind of a homework and give it to the person who we know, it makes his job easy, and he can actually forward to the right person. Otherwise, what will happen is that, you receive a CV, you simply forward, to internal HR, and that will go into a Mammoth database, and sometimes it will go in a black hole also. So when we are trying to leverage our networks, I think trying to be more specific, saying that, okay, I am looking for a job in this particular field. Your company is actually into that particular field, and I know that there are openings also in that particular field. And here is my skill sets, which exactly matches. Now, what you need to do is just give this particular CV, ensure that it gets attention before the right HR person. I think that is the way networking can be, leveraged well, so that we also help them. And of course, I mean, if things doesn't work, that's fine. I mean, you just need to tell that, okay, you just need to do the job of connecting. I mean, it's of course fine. I mean, most of the times, sometimes, we expect that other person can do some magic and get the job. I mean, there are some people I face those experience. I mean, if they send CV, they expect that, things will happen. I mean, you can only try to put a word and try to do what best you can. So I think these are some of the sensitive issues as well. Where, we have to maintain those relationships in a very nice manner. And not only the immediate network, we can also say, I mean, you can use your network also to spread this. I mean, so that is one important element which I think have to be constantly pursued upon, so that right opportunities can come, and which can lead to a right interview calls. Okay. And I think, again, although the topic was focusing more on the staying positive, I'm spending more time on the job search. So I think, needless to say that, this whole process is a cumbersome approach, and, it will create lot many heartburns. There could be some failures, there could be some dejections. I mean, you may feel that, okay, I think this is taking too much of a time. I think all these things are definitely there. I mean, so one has to be really be mentally prepared that, it may take some 3 months time or 6 months time, or sometimes even more. So keeping that in mind, and still focusing in a, the positive manner is absolutely critical. So I'll take a pause here, so that because just now that we have quite a few people here, I mean, if some of you can ask some specific questions.
Yeah. Assalamu alaikum and good morning, Mr. Sujat.
Yeah, good morning.
Okay, let me introduce myself. My name is Mushtaq. I'm a management consultant and a senior sales and marketing professional. I'm an entrepreneur. I'm also a member of PSF. Now, I just want you to highlight, for the benefit of all, two things basically. One is the midlife crisis. Now, because of the COVID, people are losing jobs, even with experience. I mean, some of them are in their late 30s and 40s, and they're not able to match up the skill sets, and there is a hesitant in them. Now, I have recruited about more than 500 people in my career, being part of Sony, Panasonic, and Motorola corporations, working with them. So there are two more things I want to highlight, since it's a positive approach. I mean, of course, with an experience of 20 years, the burning desire, I mean, that is not there in today's, the youngsters who are coming out of the colleges. I mean, everything is getting easily to them. I mean, whilst doing the studies, money is easy, bikes are easy, cars are easy. So that burning desire to get the job, that persistence is not there. Now, apart from that, expectations and the rejections, they're not able to face. They have become some sort of sensitiveness. And I've seen people, youngsters, many of them, whom I want to recruit, I want to say, okay, but the candidate doesn't show the desire to be hired, to give whatever it requires. Skill set is one thing, but the attitude, but
Certainly.
but those things are not there. So that the younger generation, I mean, of course, we are also young, but the freshers has to take care. The second part is the midlife crisis, where the 30s and the 40s and late 40s, they are not able to get into the system again because of so many factors that you can highlight with your experience.
Sure.
Now, the third factor is a lot of people coming from Middle East and abroad. I mean, with experience, of course, with so many achievements, but they're not able to fit in the industry here in India, Hyderabad or so. One is the lifestyle, what they have there, the adjustments they are not able to do properly here. Plus, they are not willing to learn, relearn. That is not happening. I mean, these are some of the challenges which I feel in the market. So that's I'm just highlighting so that you can also share your views, your opinions, and an expert. So that's I just want to make it more interesting, the interaction. That's the reason I'm just asking these questions.
Thank you so much. I think this is exactly it will be useful. So I think in terms of the first point you mentioned about the youngsters and the freshers, I think I agree with you. The partly there are some section of folks, I mean, who may fall into that category, but equally we have people who are more energetic and more enthusiastic as well. And I think this is something, unfortunately, the part of the value building or the part of a career related discussion which is not happening in the colleges. I think that is a key reason why possibly some of those things are there. But of course, you can blame certain things towards the millennial generation as well. And I think that is actually a worrisome factor because, I mean, if you really don't show that kind of an attitude or a positiveness, when you want to get into the career, I think that's a very much challenging for the next generation. So, I mean, here I think we all can play a good role in terms of mentoring those youngsters. That okay, I mean, the right sort of an attitude and this thing is really needed. And I think I mean that is what I can share. But I agree with your the point, and each of us have a role to contribute and provide some mentoring for those candidates. The second point which you raised, a very important point, is the midlife crisis, so to say. We all know that the skill sets are changing. I mean, right now we're all at least in terms of technology, that things are all changing. We're all talking about big data and all of those things, and that is making companies to rethink the strategies and come up with a newer approach of deployments. And so what has been happening was, I mean, most of the folks somehow or the other took things for granted. And suddenly when things are changing, they are finding in a situation that, okay, I mean, I have been doing this since 10, 15 years, and how do I completely change? Unless and until the folks really realize this and start adding more skills to it, and also change the approach. I mean, for example, from a technical to managerial, even within the organization, there are multiple roles. I mean, if you have been a team leader, there's no need that you have to be team leader always. If you have been individual contributor, you don't need to be individual contributor always. So I think to keep thoughts and options open, that okay, I mean, I can do a slightly a different role. Similarly, if as a part of an evolution, if you look at certain other field is more useful, I think the person has to really think through that. Okay, I can change. I mean, I'll just share an example of mine. So I was doing when I started my career, I was started as only as a company secretary. But because I did law also, then I did added legal aspects to it. Then some companies said, okay, why don't you do internal control? I said, okay, TK. Then one company said, okay, it's good that you can do ethics and compliance or business conduct related. I added that also. Now in my current company, I'm also doing some kind of contracts and claims management. So as the opportunity comes in each different companies, I think we should be open up and try to do those things. So instead of just fixating, okay, I am a company secretary. In my case, I'll just only do that. Allied things or related things which can actually help us to grow profile is absolutely important. I mean, so in my case, again, just for example, I can do only CS, and throughout my life, I could have done that. But by virtue of adding a lot of other areas, I was in a position right now to be part of a senior management of a company. I report directly to the CEO and to the board. So what I realized is by adding those new skills, by taking new challenges, although it is slight detour, overall it will actually help in a long run to build the career. So coming back to this midlife thing, I think it is absolutely critical that, we have to really see, okay, next 5 years, next 10 years, where exactly I want to be, and what is my skill sets and what is the market demand. And based on that, I think we need to really think through and add the skill set. It need not be through qualifications only. It can be by virtue of taking some new opportunities in the existing companies. So again, in the organizations, if you go and say, "Ki boss, I want to take this challenge. I want to, solve this problem," right? Even you might be technical, but if you say, "No, I want to also support in some project management. I also want to support in some business development." No organization would say no. It all depends on us how to, leverage those opportunities, how to put, you know, ourselves before the management and take initiatives. I think that is the only way how we can, address. And you always have successful examples and the not so successful examples as well. But as you rightly said, we have to calibrate, every 5 years we have to keep thinking. I mean, I keep doing that. Every 2 years I'll see, okay, how is my career shaping? I mean, is it in the right mode? What skill set I need to add? What more experience I need to add? I mean, what more things I need to add to the CV as well. So I think this is a very important thing. And currently I'm working for a company called Ramki Enviro Engineers, which is a waste management. So prior to that, I was always working for multinational companies where things were all good. So when this opportunity came in, so they never had this function, and it was a promoter driven company and a private equity was taking over. And parallel to that, I had another opportunities in Novartis and some big companies. But I purposefully chose a more challenging job, more difficult job, because I felt that by working here, I can add at least, 2 pages of variety of experiences, honestly speaking. So I know that, this will offer a completely different set of work, which is in the long term, it will be good. So you take some risks and, you take those opportunities. So that way you can, possibly avoid, doing stereotype things for constantly, several years. So that is my thoughts on the point. And on the last point, what you asked about the folks, let's say from Middle East who is coming back, I think this is a huge area which we all, have to think through. And, I have a lot of my friends as well. So when we observe, I mean, even the person is an engineer or a graduate or whatever, I mean, when they go and do some of the jobs in Middle East, I mean, they will do multiple areas. I mean, they do some marketing, to administration, all sorts of things is what they do. But when they come back to in India, I mean, even I ask them, okay, where exactly you want to be? Do you want to be HR person? Do you want to be an admin person? Do you want to be technical? I mean, the challenge what I see is they are not in a position to, profile themselves or market themselves in one particular way, and thus feel ki, okay, I mean, kidhar kaam kare, where exactly I need to apply is a big, the question mark what they have. And I think what, my humble submission, for all those folks would be, sometimes they, again, as I said in the beginning, they don't try to market themselves. They don't sell themselves. What they have to do is to go through their profile. I mean, we all know, I mean, Middle East, if some person goes, sometimes he may possibly work as an accountant. Uske baad mein sales karega. Uske baad mein something else. The key thing is to think through what all they have done throughout 5 years or 10 years or whatever it might be. Then profile it nicely. Tell a nice story that, okay, in my 10 years of a career, 5 years I have spent in administration, 5 years I have done in management, this many years I have done in marketing, whatever it might be. So profiling that and then try to, be suitable here for the Indian market is absolutely important. So I think for that, I think we all possibly who are there in India can actually help them. I mean, although some of them can even try to, take help from some professional agencies to tell their story and then get a proper CV derived out of it and then position themselves in India. So, whether it could be, if they have done a lot of administration job, then they should focus that, okay, they are an administration professional. If they have done most of the marketing, they have to position it. I think if they can position themselves well, then I think they will be, suitable for the, the Indian market. But that is a challenge. And mostly I see that lack of ability to tell the right story is a key challenge. And I think, we all should talk to them and help them explain them, okay, what is the market here, what they are looking to, and how your experience can be projected. I mean, again, I am not a expert in the HR or talent recruitment market, but I'm just speaking out of my head of whatever I have observed. Yeah. Any more similar questions? I think it would be good.
Mr. Shishak,
Yeah.
as you said, sometimes depending on the market, we can learn some more. Some additional skill. Let's say I was working in totally finance field in Gulf, and here unfortunately I am not getting the right path. I'm not getting the proper placement in finance. I'm struggling a lot, and unfortunately, let's say because they are preferring mostly in finance experienced person here in India itself. So in this way, if I want to go with marketing area, unfortunately, what will happen? The recruiters, they will not consider a person who is not at all having experience in marketing or administration or logistics, whatever. So in my case, what's happening? I was working in, as you said just now, in operations. So I was handling all the things, all the departments like logistics, warehousing, inventory, and a little bit of HR, admin, and all. So in this way, it's very difficult, because we are not specialized in one particular thing.
Correct.
And apart from that, I cannot totally change my field also, as I said. So in this way, it's very difficult for us to,
Correct. So for your specific example, I have a thought because I worked in Deloitte and some of the ITS organizations in India. See, a lot of companies here in, at least in Hyderabad and Bangalore, they are actually having a lot of these processes called as enabled services or center of excellence process outsourced to Bangalore or Hyderabad. Okay. So for that matter, I mean, let's take an example of finance. Okay. So in finance, you have a hardcore accounting related work, but at the same time, as I was mentioning to you, a lot of processes. I mean, you will see organizations here sitting here, they are actually handling multiple processes, whether it is AR process, AP process, reconciliation, variety of things, and they have a lot many people. So in those situations, I think, we have to possibly market yourself that, okay, you will be suitable for those kind of a roles. That is one. And second aspect, I'm sure some of the folks, what they have been doing is using this domain experience. They are adding some functional, some technology as well. I mean, these days ERP and all of those things are also there. So trying to be a functional consultant is one more area. So whether supporting those processes, outsourced processes in India, that is one positioning you can do. And secondly, adding a technology flavor and positioning, that could be an option. Of course, as you said, marketing is a completely different field, right? So using those existing profiles, trying to correlate the current job market and job opportunities, what possibly can be done. Again, easier said than done, because as you rightly said, it is important to convince that particular person why your experience is absolutely important. Okay. And here is what we have to spend some time. For example, in your case, you should spend some time analyzing each and every job assignment you have done and what exactly the value you have added, what achievement you have added to the organization. I think that has to be packaged well and presented in various opportunities.
So you meant to say not to highlight each and everything in the CV.
Yeah,
the major
again,
things,
sometimes, absolutely. So again, the point is, some of us may feel there should be only one CV always. Okay. It need not be. Depending on the opportunity, it can be tailor-made and customized. Okay. So, I mean, based on that, I think your, the positioning and your profile building will be accordingly. I mean, if you're, you may possibly, look for a variety of jobs. Okay. And based on the job profile, I mean, your story telling should slightly change and push more towards what they are needed. Okay. So I'll tell you, I mean, one of my experiences in job search and all, I mean, I first see the job description, what exactly that guy needs. Okay. Once you know what exactly that person needs, and in your CV process or in your interview process, if you can demonstrate that I am that person and you can give him what he needs, I think there's a large chances of the success of the interview can happen. So it need not be always standard. I mean, depending on the person or depending on the opportunity, it has to be customized. The story has to be told slightly differently. For example, as I said in my example, I'm doing secretarial, legal, multiple areas. But if I go for a new opportunity, I will exactly see what he's looking for, and I will try to craft my story accordingly.
All right. Thank you, Mr.
Yeah, any further, the questions or any other, thoughts? And of course, I think, appearing for the job interviews, and that itself is a huge, the process. And, one of the things, although it is 20 years backstory, I recollect before giving my first interview, I used to do a lot of research. I mean, research of reading so many articles of how to face interviews. I still recollect, how to face interviews, how to, analyze. There's a lot of content out there in the market. There's a lot of tips which are there. So spending time is absolutely important. Two, there is something called role play also. I mean, I used to do this. I used to mentally ask questions to myself, and I used to prepare an answers as well, as much as possible. So that, okay, what is the first question he will ask? In fact, as trivial it may sound, the first question what generally people ask is a very broad question, right? Tell me something about yourself, or share your journey and all. In my view, that first initial 2 to 3 minutes of a proper description gives a huge, change to the entire conversation. So I think there are some questions which we can easily predict. And if we answer those questions, or if we prepare those questions in advance in a nice manner, the conversation goes well. That is one approach what I used to follow. Predicting the questions and answering those. Keeping those answers ready so that you sound confident in terms of the words you use, or so on and so forth. Secondly, also. Based on the opportunity, based on the company and all, you can also predict some questions also. So if we can plan, okay, this guy will definitely ask this question. So, I mean, if you do a little bit of more preparation around those, I think that would also help. And third important thing is sometimes you can actually hijack the conversation based on the interesting topic which you have. So I used to do this. I mean, I used to tell certain things which they are more interested in, and thus changing the course of conversation to only that topic which I'm supremely confident, because ultimately interviews is about only 30 minutes or 45 minutes or so, right? So again, starting with the first answer, and if you're able to drive the conversation, to the topics of your interest, naturally, the whole interview will, go good. So, I mean, that is something what I, used to do in terms of, preparing for the interviews. And also, creating some stories as well. I mean, even at this stage as well, I mean, if you need to attend an interview, I mean, I will try to prepare stories as well. And what we should do is that, every tenure, we should have some stories ready. And these days, there are a lot of situational interviews also is happening. They will tell, okay, tell me about a situation, what problem you face, how did you solve, and, all of those stuff. So suddenly I see some of the candidates blanking out. So we should always have some good stories. Okay, top 10 accomplishments, what exactly happened, what did you do, how did you contribute. So those stories, we should keep it ready so that, if anyone asks any examples, we can immediately share those examples without immediately trying to think. It could be a story with the team, or some project, or it could be an issue or whatever. So keeping those talking points also ready will definitely help a lot in the interviews. Of course, this whole the interview preparation is a huge subject. CV preparation is one huge subject. Then preparing for the interviews also is a interesting topic. And I can tell you, when I hire people, I largely look for the soft skills and the attitude, because at least in my field, I believe that technical skills will be there. I mean, technical skills will be there. But the challenge is that, using those technical skills, using right attitude, I think right hunger, that is more important for me. So I generally go with the person's approach, the thought process and thinking, and also spending time around those soft skills, appearing more confident. See, sometimes, you have to appear confident. Okay. I mean, it's all about the 30 minutes or 45 minutes. So in some of the interviews, shamelessly, which I have attended, I at least appear supremely confident so that the other person feels, yeah, this is the right guy. Okay. Uske baad mein, of course, you will have your own struggle and all. But I think making that right executive presence, demonstrated in the interviews, that is a very key. I mean, because people, whenever they're interviewing, I have seen people, they might be technically good, but they're not in a position to articulate themselves. They're not in a position to market themselves. They don't show that much of a hunger. They don't show that much of energy in their eyes. So a lot of these unsaid things are also very, very important, which, we all have to slowly start, building in ourselves so that, we appear as a very potential good candidate and say that value to be added. Sometimes, we can even, I use these techniques. I said, if you hire me, I will definitely do the result. I'll be successful. Give me a time for 6 months. 6 months mein nahi hoga to I will myself resign. Sometimes you have to demonstrate the confidence and an attitude without sounding arrogant also. That technique also works. I think there's one question I could see here. Social media profiles and one's digital. Yeah, absolutely, Mr. Mushtaq, you are right. Updating LinkedIn and all of that. So apart from that, I'll share one funny story. 10 years back, I had a dream that, if you type my name, there should be some names or some articles or something should come out. Because these days, if you're meeting a new person, the first thing you will try to do is finding out that person. So of course, LinkedIn profile is important. Apart from that, I think these days what the recruiters are also doing is they are going and checking the social media profile. Their personality is something also is demonstrated. For example, if you type my name in Google, you will know about me. What I did consciously was I started writing articles. I started giving a lot of presentations in seminars and so on and so forth by various speaking opportunities that actually helped build the digital profile as well. So it takes time, but consciously writing in some blog or writing some articles or, do whatever, but, so that, your social media profile or for that matter, digital profile is enhanced. Because these days, apart from interviews, people go and do your background search. They will just type your name in Google and try to see, okay, let's see how this person is. So that is again more of a enhancing personal brand, which will not happen immediately over a period of a time. So I was the chairman of the Institute of Company Secretaries for Hyderabad. So that gave me an opportunity to, present, speak a lot and actually help me build the digital profile. So as you rightly said, I think having a nice LinkedIn profile is good. And one more tip on the LinkedIn is that the more articles you share, right, it is more active. In fact, I'll tell you one thing. So at this juncture of 20 years career, if I need to go into the next opportunity, I know that my profile has to be tracked by the headhunters, the likes of Econ Zender or or the Spectrum, or there are some big headhunters. So what I consciously do, even rather shamelessly, is I go and connect with all. I have already connected with all the headhunters of senior who only target CXO profiles or top management profiles, and I, they are all there in my LinkedIn. And I keep sharing articles, I keep sharing some content, and also that there is always a visibility. So tomorrow, if they have to look for a general counsel or a chief compliance officer or any role, there is a potential that I may possibly reach out because I'm there in the network, because they know that. So that also, of course, it is at a lateral stage. It will actually help in showcasing the profile. So in LinkedIn or whatever it might be, being active and sharing some content and doing some thought leadership helps you to be in a visibility of the right people. So I think these are some of the thoughts which I just wanted to share. I just shared some of my personal examples, not to exaggerate or anything. It's just to share, some of the things what I have done which worked. So please take it in that spirit. Not meant to be boastful or exaggerate.
Yeah, thank you, Mr. Shujat. It's top of the hour. I think we'll end this session. Thank you very much for sharing your time and sharing your experiences. It was really helpful. We'll upload this video in PSF channel for any candidates to go through this and benefit from this.
Yeah, sure. And I think, I mean, if we have some specific, issues, let's say there are some 5 freshers or 10 freshers who are actually right now looking for a job search, or, I mean, there are some laterals who are actually really looking. I mean, we can always have like a, what do you call, work group discussion, wherein we can say, okay, you tell me what is your profile? What are you doing? What have you done? I'll be more than happy to actually mentor or provide them some guidance, and also possibly connect to my leads. I mean, I can say at this point of time that pretty much I know a lot of people in all the major companies, whether it is general counsel or chief compliance officer or company secretary. I can help them reach the right people as well, and also more importantly, help them with their own challenges. May not be session like this, but maybe a focus group. I just be so happy to volunteer whatever limited I can. And thank you for this opportunity.
Yeah, that would be great. That would be great. We had something like that, mentorship program from PSF. Right now it is in hibernate mode, so we'll try to resurrect it, and then we'll try to see if you can be part of that.
Sure.
Thank you very much. Thanks a lot for your time.
Thank you all of you for this opportunity, and look forward to participate in more such programs. And all the best to all of you. Allah Hafiz.